My magic's very different, to be honest. I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
with magic when I was 11 years old. This was 2002. So I just started learning magic. In fact, David was one of the first influences for me when I got into magic.
Mm.
And my magic is more of figuring out what people are thinking of, knowing things about their life, things like that. So my magic's not physical, although I have an interest in the history of magic around the world. So one of the reasons that I think Nat Geo and David got in touch with me for this is because I think I could take them around India and show them things that are happening in the country, which maybe look like magic, but maybe or maybe are not magic, things like that. So for me, it's more about things in the mind. It's not about the physical activity. That's something that David can do. That's not something the rest of us can do. But yeah, it's different. And it was very exciting for me to be able to see things like that as well, because a lot of the things that are in the show, I'd read about them and I knew that they happen in India, but I'd never seen them live.
Okay.
But through David, I got to see a lot of it live as well.
Yeah.
I think for me, my magic's always been about because in India, it's like you said, it's about spirituality. It's India has also been one of the countries which has magic's been one of the oldest art forms in the
Mm.
country. People from around the world have come to India to see magic in India. But over the years, what's happened is a lot of Western influences have come to India in relation to magic. So what my magic is marrying the idea of what Indian magic is mixed with the Western sort of magic. A lot of it is to do with the ideas that are prevalent in India, thought processes that are prevalent in India. India is a very deeply superstitious country to begin with. There's a lot of superstitions, there are a lot of belief systems. So a lot of magic that I do is around that as well. So if someone's superstitious, I try to talk to them about that superstition and then try to question that superstition and still do something with that superstition involved, but it still ends up working. So we try to do a couple of things around that. And there's a lot of me trying to tell people, because people are sort of willing to believe in a lot of things in India as well. I try to do things where, for example, if I read somebody's mind, people might think that I have powers given to me by God. I try to dispel that idea by saying that I don't have powers. There are people who might have those powers, but I can do the same things that they can do without claiming any powers. So mine is a lot to do with trying to sort of educate people as well through the art form that I'm in. So there's a mixture of a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay.
It is very different. In fact, when I started performing, it was just on stage in front of paying people, and then gradually, I never wanted to do videos because my thing was that I'm somebody who's a live performer. But gradually, when videos started doing well, and I realized that that's a great platform to market yourself. It's a great
Okay.
platform to be able to sell more tickets also. Then it's just something that ended up happening. And then once the video started doing well, I realized that video magic has to be very different from live. Because I think in live, I can take my time, I can tell a story, I can get people involved. Video has to be faster because people's attention span is lower. And then gradually, because we're talking about technology and we are on this platform where we're talking on Zoom, when
Yeah.
the pandemic happened, I did a lot of shows on Zoom, and that was
Yeah, I know.
completely different as well. And that was all based on me trying to interact with people in their homes, bringing magic to people's homes as opposed to them coming to see me. So there's a lot of differences, but at the same time there are similarities as well, because people's reactions and their expressions and their ideas of magic remains the same. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-year-old, an 80-year-old, a 30-year-old, a man, a woman, or any other gender. People are reacting to magic in the same way, with shock and awe and smiling. It's something that remains the same regardless of the platform. It's whether it's live, whether it's online, whether it's on a video. It's the same. I think it's very important. I think for me, magic is all about spreading smiles and making people have a good time, making them question a few things as well. Uh, it may be just me romanticizing my art form a lot, but I think it's the most intellectually stimulating art form there is, because it's the only art form when you see it, you start questioning how. It forces you to think. So for me, I love the fact that there are people there, and I love the fact that the kind of magic that I'm doing requires people to be a part of it. It can't just be me on stage performing, it requires other people to be a part of it as well. In fact, I have a line that I say that the only prop that I use is the audience.
Yeah.
I'm not using anything else. It's just the people. And the story that I'm also telling in the shows is happening through the people. It's not happening, it's not just me on stage doing things, it's the people that are making things happen. And I think It's the most unique thing about the art form that I'm in because it spreads smiles and it's about the people and it's not about the person on stage. Because a lot of magic can be about, oh, how did I do this? How did that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah.
I want to take it away from that. I want to make it about the audience. I want to make it about, oh, how did you experience this? What was your feeling while going through this? Why did you think of this instead of how did I do it? It has to be more about the people. And I think that just makes it much better. It's true. It changes in every
Yeah.
show, but I think over time, because everybody reacts differently, but over time, what I've done when I've practiced these shows, I've realized that if I say something, there is one of three ways a certain thing can go.
Okay.
And then I plan a backup for everything.
That's
So if
magic
it's
too.
that's magic as well. That's the magic of theater. But I think if I'm doing a 60-minute show in my head, that's 180 minutes because there can be three different things that can happen. So I have to plan it accordingly. But I have a way of making things go the way I want them to, while still making it look like it happened what you wanted it to. So
But
that's also kind of magic, yeah.
I think
It is incredible, and like you said, it is a sort that when you said that you couldn't see it because it is that scary, imagine seeing it live. It's happening in front of you. And I was there. The one thing when he sort of tries to break the bottle over his head,
yeah.
when he was doing that, all of us were like, why do you have to do it? Don't do it, David. It's just, there's no need for you to do it. And then initially we were like, because it's television, why not just use sugar bottles?
Yeah, of
No one's
course.
going to find out. Just do it, and no one's going to know it's not a real bottle. But they were like, no, it has to be real. It has to be. I'm like, we don't have to do that. And just to see it live and see what happened then, and all of us sort of standing, it was very difficult to see. And for me, even more so, because as a magician, I always know that there's a trick, but there was no trick. This was real. He's
Yeah.
actually doing it, and it was scary to see. And the amount of, and initially, when he's even doing it in the episode, you think, oh, maybe he's not going to do it. Maybe he'll stop. But then
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does it, and it was very scary. I was very scared watching it, and some people on the set had turned the other way because they couldn't see. But I was standing like 2 feet away, and it was scary to see that. It was very scary to see that. I think the real power of magic, like I said in the beginning, is it forces people to think. You can go for a comedy show, you can go for a music show. It can make you think, but it won't make you question how. It's the only art form that makes you think. At the same time, it entertains you. At the same time, it makes you smile or makes you scared. In your case, when you saw David.
Yeah.
So it'll make you feel a lot of emotions, which I think very few art forms do. Music can make you have certain songs can make you have a certain emotion. Comedy can make you laugh. Magic's the only thing that can take you through a roller coaster of emotions and make you think at the same time. And this show will do all of that.